Previously on the Kongversation.
Banjo is our Captain America, and I've only grown more in love with him as the world has continued to go down the Lago.
So what does that make Conquer then? If Banjo is Captain America, what does that make Conquer, or Boggy, I guess?
Chris Pratt.
Unless I stage my own kidnapping. Hide underneath Mr. Big Spix the purple gorilla in my crib until I starve to death, then reincarnate again as a new baby in a family where my parent isn't a giraffe chafer. Yes, that is my brilliant plan.
Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell, and
I'm Seth Rogen. I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to do that?
It's fine. I've lost control of my week anyway. Hey, it's Malik!
Yes, it is. The other Canadian.
Originally, my co-host wasn't going to be Canadian, actually. So, before Nintendo announced this Nintendo Direct, and before I realized we would actually have things to talk about from the Nintendo Direct, friend Josh Wallen, the Geek Critique, was going to be on this episode, because we were going to do an episode, right, about the general pervasive sense of, I'm going to use a big word here, ennui, that had set in among the Donkey Kong fandom since E3. Just a lot of blue bear level sadness going on with the community. and I think it's just a lack of news. Even though, you know, as we'll be touching upon throughout this episode, we know good stuff is coming. It's still kind of hard when you're in a vacuum, right? Like, these things you know are happening, but you don't really know they're happening because it's all hypotheticals and leaks and distant photos of theme parks under construction. So it's kind of hard to realign your enthusiasm when it feels a lot like 2009, and we don't know Donkey Kong Country Returns is coming, and it just feels like the franchise is dead. So, I was going to do an episode with Josh about that, and I still am, but then the world kind of blew up, and we got this 2 news story pile-up of insanity from the September Nintendo Direct, which I'm also sick of Nintendo Directs, Malik. Let me tell you what, because they announce them, they give you 24 hours notice, and as a content creator, that's not a lot of time. So you're like, oh, I've got 24 hours to prepare for this. Plus, you never know what time of day they're going to do them. So it's like, will I even be home? You know, will I have a podiatrist appointment when this Nintendo Direct is happening? You can't cancel on a podiatrist. You know, you can do it once, maybe twice, but a third time, they're not going to have
3 strikes, you're out.
They're going to look at other feet. So I don't like that bit. That's a bad bit for the Nintendo Directs. Bad bit.
Smack. Very bad bit.
But also, I am exhausted. Just in general. I mean, I'm exhausted, but I'm exhausted with the whole Nintendo Direct cycle. It's also stupid, Malik. It's months of hoaxes about when the Nintendo Direct is. Like, you're not even hoaxing what it's going to be said at the Nintendo Direct. It's just a hoax about when there's going to be Nintendo Direct. And then they announce it, and then it's just 24 hours of a bunch of games trending on Twitter that aren't Donkey Kong, about what people want to see. It's not Donkey Kong, and then that makes me feel bad. and then the Donkey Kong fandom feels bad, and then I have to do an episode with Josh to cheer us up. So, the whole Nintendo Direct thing really makes me nostalgic for when Nintendo just announced games on their website, and that was it.
Yeah,
that was sweet. That was pretty sweet. Because
I was never around for that, but it sounds pretty nice and quiet.
Yeah, it's like ripping off a bandage, right? Like, I'm just going to load up their website. Any new games announced today? Okay, nope, done. So it's relatively quick. It's not this drawn out thing where you feel like you're on death row. I'm being hyperbolic here, but it feels like you're on death row waiting to walk the green mile to your execution. Yeah, just video game news. So I am being hyperbolic, but it's fine at E3 time, because E3 is the one time of the year where you have all these hopes raised, and you're kind of rooting for your home team, whatever your favorite franchise is, and you might luck out, you might walk away with nothing, but at least it only happens once a year. Now with the Nintendo Directs, it's just you never even know when they're coming. So anyway, hey, there was a Nintendo Direct, and it was at 6:00 Eastern time, which is actually a pretty convenient time if you live on the East Coast. They had these sliding times, I think, to accommodate their worldwide audience. So some Nintendo Directs are more accommodating for Japan, some are more accommodating for the East or West Coast of the Americas, and but it would be nice if they were just set at like one time, and then maybe people could take off from work or call out sick from school if they want to, just all like agree when a Nintendo Direct is, and we'll work our schedule around it. But
yeah,
it was at a convenient time for us, Malik. So, I was just like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch this, maybe get some Mario Party Superstars news, right? And then, and then that's it. And I don't have to talk about it on the Kongversation. I'll do my episode with Josh. It's going to be a really good episode. I'm really jazzed about it. And then, bam! Bam, bam! and the slow realization that, oh no, this is the biggest news day of DK Vine's year. And it's fine, but I was already exhausted, and I ate sunflower milk ice cream the night before. Ice cream made
what is that?
Ice cream made of sunflower milk. Because
milk.
I do these dairy-free ice creams, right? Because I don't do dairy. I don't do it.
Right.
Dairy gives me the poops, and I don't want those. I don't like them. I don't feel like pooping is elegant. I would never poop if it was up to me. So I would operate at peak efficiency. I would absorb all of my food and use it for fuel that goes towards DK Vine. That's the dream, friendo. That is the dream.
Yes, of course.
But I made myself sick because apparently, in addition to cow udder juice, the juice from sunflower seeds, which I can consume in great bulk in seed form, but apparently when you milk the teat of the sunflower, it has a very similar effect to dairy milk on my body. So I wasn't feeling great all day long, and but it's amazing what a little adrenaline will do for you. And I want to give a quick shout out to the DK Vine staff, who we really rallied last night. We got out all the articles. We hit social media. We were on top of it. Couldn't have done it without my team. Thanks, everyone. And all that's left now is to do the conversation about it. So, Malik, what were you hoping, first of all, what were you hoping that we would see during this Nintendo Direct? Did you, because before the Nintendo Direct, in the 24 hours or maybe 30 hours or whatever it was before the Direct, after the announcement, a lot of people on Twitter were sending me tweets and DMs like, hey, do you think we'll see the new Donkey Kong game? And I said, no, no. Don't get your hopes up for that. I said that at E3 and people still got their hopes up, obviously. But, I'm just like, I don't think this is the right time. And I was correct there, but I think we're not going to hear about it until next year sometime. And even then with COVID, because they had that little COVID message at the beginning of the Direct, basically what, Iwata would have said, please understand, there's a worldwide pandemic and games and game production have just been slowed to a halt. We're making them as fast as we can, but, so with COVID, I still don't know, like, optimistically, I'm saying it's going to be announced next year, but I don't know. There could be some horrible new variant of COVID, and then it just shuts down the world again. So I wasn't really looking forward to anything announced in this Direct. Granted, my tastes are insular, and it's not like a new Kirby game is gonna get me excited. I'm happy for the Kirby fans. But I'm just, I'm in it for the DKU, and I didn't think we're going to get anything for the DKU minus Mario Party Superstars, which, can't get excited about. I'm sorry.
That's all right. But, so when the Nintendo Direct was announced, I didn't really have anything that I was looking forward to, or rather, I wasn't really expecting anything. There were, like, rumors of, let's see, the whole N64 online thing. There were like, the usual like, oh, we found this patent and we found this and, this guy said this and this thing. The Castlevania collection has been rated in a bunch of other countries. So I was expecting those, but when it came to, anything else, I really had nothing I was really looking forward to. I just went in there. It's like, okay, surprise me.
This is surprising. I'm still kind of at a loss for words because, again, and you can look at our episode artwork for this episode if you listen to the YouTube upload or the SoundCloud upload. If you listen on any of the podcast services, like we're now on Spotify, but you won't see the episode artwork on Spotify. I was at a loss for how to unify these two disparate news stories, right? Because they're both linked by virtue of being the DKU, but that's really it. And so how do I convey these two different stories that, one, something that a lot of fans in the community have been wanting for years, and two, something none of us ever asked for, and we're all trying to process the bizarre nature of it. So yeah, you could look at my best solution there on YouTube and SoundCloud, but
I think it works.
It's fine. Anyway, so let's just get right to it. So they announced Nintendo 64 games and Sega Genesis games, but we're going to focus on the Nintendo 64 aspect. This was rumored, right? Nintendo 64 games coming to Nintendo Switch Online. And they announced this. They announced that it's going to actually be kind of a higher tier for Nintendo Switch Online because, I guess it's expensive. I don't know, putting these higher memory games on the service. I don't know. I'm sure people are listening and saying, "Hyle, you're an idiot." The ROMs are like basically the same size. Nintendo's just being greedy. And it's whatever. I'm not going to get into the economics of it. It's fine. I'm going to do it because, am I a sucker? Am I a mark? No, I just like to support games that I like. And I if this benefits the vision of what kind of games they want to put on services like this, and if it benefits Rare it in any way, spoiler, then I'm happy to do it. Yeah, so this service, this kind of elite version of Nintendo Switch Online with the Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis, it's called the Expansion Pack with a C. With a C. It's not spelled the same, but at first I thought that was going to be the biggest news because I didn't think there was going to be any DKU games in this, maybe aside from a cameo game or two. So I thought that was going to be the big news from this is, they named it Expansion Pack. What a lovely tribute to the Nintendo 64. And, the little add-on memory boost that is mostly associated with Donkey Kong 64. It's kind of like when they brought the Donkey Kong Country trilogy and the Donkey Kong Land trilogy to the Nintendo eShop on the Wii U and 3DS, and they brought back the Play It Loud branding for that, and it was just like, it's ours. It's Nintendo's mid-90s branding and slogan, but it's so heavily associated with Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Country at this point that they basically just gifted it to us. It was sweet. So I was like, that's cool. I like that. And then the games that are launching for the service they showed, and I don't even remember what they are. I'm sure Super Mario 64 is on there. I'm just going to read the list of DKU games before the main DKU game. So the service is launching in October, and Mario Kart 64 and Mario Tennis are both part of it. Which, okay, Mario Kart 64, once upon a time, was my favorite Mario Kart. It's a game I'll always be nostalgic for. I'm not really jonesing to play it on my Switch, but I'm happy it's there. Mario Tennis, it's the most basic Mario Tennis game, maybe aside from the Wii U one, but okay. But it's hard for me to get excited about cameo games by and large, unless it's something really esoteric like iDarb. They're not going to put iDarb on Nintendo Switch because that's an Xbox One game. Are you sighing over iDarb?
I'm just sad that iDarb isn't coming to the Switch. Just maybe one day, a man can dream.
It's a fun game, and it would be fun to play with a different crowd than just the Xbox One friends I have. But yeah, so they also announced that Mario Golf, Camelot's other N64 game, is coming at a later date.
Yeah.
And then, we're watching the North American version of the Direct, right? And so the games are scrolling by, and I'm just like, wow, Donkey Kong 64 is not part of this. And Donkey Kong 64, it's a game I have a long, complicated history with. But mostly, I want it on the service. I would love to play Donkey Kong 64 on my Switch because I think making it handheld, making it like portable, what might do a lot for how I perceive the game and the idea of it being a slog. Like, because if you can just play it on your couch, or if you had too much sunflower ice cream and you're sitting somewhere else in the house for a long extended period of time, it might be fun to play Donkey Kong 64. So, and I was like, we're not even getting Donkey Kong 64 on this. I just want to go to bed. and so Paper Mario scrolls by, and then in like a blink, almost a blinking you'll miss it moment, they almost cut it off. They didn't quite cut it off, but the trick of the eye, a lot of people said, they didn't even show the whole thing. It like peeked out and then they cut away. We were able to get screenshots of it, and you could see a little bit of the red of the screen bleeding through to the right of the box. So it did actually make its way all the way on screen, but it was blurry.
Yeah.
Like there was motion blur. You couldn't like just stop it. Banjo Kazooie. Yeah.
My goodness.
And apparently the UK Direct, it was one of the earlier titles that scrolled out. So whatever
European bias.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they didn't play games with us, because I was talking about it with Cameron in the DK Vine Inner Circle, and Cameron said, they knew what they were doing, right? Like, they saved it for last, and they made it like almost, did you see that kind of moment? And they didn't address it like, oh yes, and for the first time in 2 decades, Banjo Kazooie is coming into a Nintendo console. They didn't do that. They didn't address it, so it was kind of like, was this like mass psychosis? Was this a shared hallucination? Or did this actually happen? And it was made even weirder because Rare didn't immediately comment on it. It took Rare maybe like 20 minutes to tweet about it, and I'm like, what did they say? Like, luckily they were able to pull up the European Direct where they had a clear visual of it. But they just took a screenshot of the Direct and tweeted that because it's like, I wonder if Rare was like, before we knew that there was a regional difference in the Directs, it's like, I wonder if Rare is just like, how do we promote this when we can't even get a clean screenshot of it? Banjo Kazooie on the Nintendo Switch, the thing that people have been asking for since there's been a Nintendo Switch. And since there's been a Rare replay, since 2015, honestly, that's really when you started to see the put Banjo Kazooie on a Nintendo console kind of movement start up. It finally happened, and there's a lot to say about it. There's a lot we need to address. We have a few calls actually, of our listeners who just wanted to gush about it. They bring up various points we're going to get into. So instead of just taking them one by one or kind of saving them for the end, I figured we would just play them all back to back to back. That way we can let them have their say, and then we can, I guess, go through all the points and go through everything we want to say and everything that needs to be addressed. So why don't we go ahead and play all 3 calls? We'll kick back, and then we'll get back to talking about Banjo Kazooie on Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack.
How you doing, DK Vine? Glad to see the news about Banjo finally coming to Nintendo again. It makes me more than happy, and gives me hope, obviously, for Banjo 3. And I, forever think that Banjo 3 is coming, and I refuse to think that these companies are going to let, something as popular and beloved as Banjo just go away. This is something I've been waiting on since I was a kid, ever since Banjo 2 ended. From the moment it ended, been waiting for Banjo 3, and I'm never going to stop waiting. So Banjo coming to Switch is a dream come true. And, I loved Platonic's post, I guess it was, on Twitter, where they posted Yuka and Laylee playing the Switch, playing Banjo Kazooie. I thought that was really nice. But yeah, I mean, this just opens the door for so much stuff with Rare, and I'm just so happy for it. Hopefully we'll get the rest of all the, Rare games like Donkey Kong 64, maybe Conquer. We'll see. The adult themes, we'll see if Nintendo will let it go up on the shop, but hopefully they will, because, it's one of the best ones, obviously. But with Banjo, that's my beloved, game, and that's just, my life has, been changed by Banjo so much, and it just, the music in it as well from Grant Kirkhope, and just the great game design as well as all the characters is just, it's just my childhood, and it's the reason I love video games. And to me, Banjo Kazooie is the greatest game of all time. Banjo 2 as well. And I know if they do a proper Banjo 3, it will be great. And I got some crazy ideas for that, so I'll have to call back on another conversation and leave my thoughts on that. Hopefully I'm not going on too long. But about the Mario movie, I gotta be honest, I think it looks terrible. The only good redeeming thing is Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. That's the only good thing. And Cranky Kong being in the movie is pretty cool too. But besides that, Chris Pratt as Mario is absolutely terrible. And I think it's terrible, to Charles Martinet because he's the real Mario. But, all I care about really is Banjo and, Donkey Kong and Ukulele and Conquer. So hope you guys have a great one. And to all my Banjo fans out there, keep the flame burning. We will get Banjo 3. And hopefully I'll have some more, call-ins as well as maybe even make my own YouTube channel one day about Banjo. Hope you guys have a blessed day, and I'll just be an anonymous caller for now, but God bless y'all.
Hey guys, it's me, Jacob from Nintendo Nostalgia, I'm just calling in due to the topic. Yeah, it's a big deal that Banjo Kazooie's coming on the Nintendo Switch online services like that. I'm ecstatic, and it's awesome that we're going to get a 64 wireless controller. It's something I've wanted for a long time, and ever since Banjo Kazooie got into Smash, it just made me even hopeful that I would be able to play Banjo Kazooie again on a Nintendo console, and it's surreal to me. But it begs the question, what does this mean for the future? Will we get more rare games online like that? And, where does the future of the series lie? Do you think that this keeps building up more and more to where, future iterations of Banjo Kazooie, do you think may still come to Nintendo platforms with a collaboration with Microsoft? So, I don't know. I just wanted to hear your thoughts. I'm really happy about it. I really hope we get, Diddy Kong Racing and just get some more stuff here, but, we'll take one victory at a time. So, thanks guys. Can't wait to hear the episode. Bye.
Hey guys, this is Carson, and damn, that was crazy. I was most shocked by how they subliminally snuck in the Banjo Kazooie box art into their little reveal of upcoming N64 games. And of course now everybody's excited about the possibilities of maybe other rare N64 games coming to NSO. But I wanted to call and ask a different question. I'm curious if now that there is an active licensing relationship between Nintendo, Microsoft, and Rare to get stuff like Banjo Kazooie on there, that maybe they could also do it for the Game Boy Advance games. Stuff that's never seen a re-release, such as Grunty's Revenge, Saberwolf, It's Mr. Pants. I'm curious if they could work out some kind of agreement to get those on a potential Game Boy Advance Nintendo Switch Online. Another question would be, though, do they need to seek out the rights from THQ Nordic? Because there are THQ logos within all those Game Boy Advance titles that they published back in the day. So I'm curious if that would be an issue. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day, and good luck with Seth Rogen Donkey Kong.
Well, thank you for the calls, everyone. I like how the last call, they treated it like it was some sort of threat at the end. Like, good luck with Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. You're gonna hate it.
You're going to need it.
So, a lot to unpack here. We'll talk about Seth Rogen and Fred Armisen and the Illumination Super Mario movie in due time here. We also have another call to take about that. Which I'm saving because it's exclusively about that topic. But when we get there, we'll get there. Let's give Banjo Kazooie its due right now. Well, Malik, like where do we even begin? So
I don't know.
I see. Let's deal with the downbeat cynics at first, because I see a lot of people. Not a lot. I mean, this has been mostly unanimously praised by all sectors of fan base, except for all the people who were quote tweeting my tweet about it, and they were just saying like, "Big deal, Paper Mario, Ugh. Big deal, Paper Mario." And I'm like, was this some sort of TikTok challenge that I don't know about to like shit on the people excited about Banjo Kazooie? And like boost up Paper Mario? I wasn't aware that there was this deep-seated rivalry between Paper Mario and Banjo Kazooie. Like, is this the new Donkey Kong v Metroid? But
I don't know. I mean, I love both games, but I've never thought of any rivalry between the two of them.
I've never seen any paper in Banjo Kazooie games except the Cheeto pages. I don't understand it. But it's been mostly positive. I do see some people who are upset about the idea that this is just going to be a straight rip of the N64 game, that this isn't going to be a remastered Banjo Kazooie or even the XBLA version.
That's what interests me.
That's what, okay.
Kinda.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you. Like, this is my point is, yes, the XBLA version of Banjo Kazooie will remain exclusive to, the various Xbox platforms. But what this is the original N64 version of Banjo Kazooie that hasn't been available for, going on 2 decades. Like, officially available. Yes, ROMs exist. Yes, you can always find a way to play it, but that is being done in an official capacity with the blessing of Rare and Microsoft on a Nintendo platform. It's not just that this exists. It's not that it's the symbolism, the meaning behind it. We're now past 19 years after the Rare buyout. 19 years, Malik. That is over half of my life. And I would wager that is way more than half the life of most of the people listening to this.
Me.
Yeah. Like, everybody. I'm the old man of the community at this point. So, I mean, that is kind of sobering to think about when you think of the buyout as this kind of relatively recent thing, but like the true bulk of Rare as we know it was with Nintendo, and no, not anymore.
Nope, it's mostly Microsoft.
Small window of time, 8 years, really. At least publicly, So, yeah, it's meaningful to not only have this happen and to have, Rare be tweeting about it and to have it be this done deal, but it's also meaningful to have the original N64 version with the original font. And
now, we haven't seen that yet, but I really, really hope that is the case, or something like I hope it's like a happy marriage of, like, you get the frame rate of the Xbox Live Arcade version, but again, like, all the Nintendo HUDs and elements are as you remember them, and the font as well, and I want to see if they keep Barry in the ship in Rusty Bucket Bay, or if that'll be
I imagine it's all going to be there. I don't think this is going to be some sort of new ad hoc piecemeal. We're gonna cherry pick between the 2 different versions. This is just going to be the original Banjo Kazooie.
Frame rate and all, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I would be surprised if it wasn't. Now, if there are tweaks, maybe, I don't know. Haven't heard anything about that, but, I think it just, obviously the XBLA version has more to it, and then you have the connectivity between it and TUI and nuts and bolts and, all that. So, you couldn't really bring that over, 100%, and so it just makes sense for me to just have it be the N64 version. Maybe, there are improvements to be had and can be done, but I don't think this is something that either company wants to put a lot of effort into, it kind of just defeats the purpose of it if you can't just throw it up there as is. And I'm fine with that. I think it's great. I would love to play the original N64 version. Again, I have the cartridge, right? Like I could pop it in, dust off the N64, but it's just cool to be able to pull it up on my Switch. Yeah, and it's just nice to see. You're right.
For those who don't have a Nintendo 64, like I didn't have one until 2011, but this is just a great way for people to play the game, as long as you're able to pony up enough money to do so. But at the very least, it is accessible to, I would argue, more people than the Xbox version in some cases.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
It's hard to say. Like, by accessible, do you mean like people who want to play Banjo Kazooie have a Switch versus having an Xbox?
Well, actually, no, because I was just thinking about like Rare Replay sales, but there's many other ways you can play it on Xbox and like Game Pass and all the mobile stuff that they have. So it's got a wide audience that it could reach out to, but this just makes it even more accessible.
Yeah, I would say that statement would have been true 10 years ago. But in the last 10 years, and especially in the last 6 years or so, Xbox has really done a bang-up job of diversifying and broadening their appeal. And I think now Xbox is a platform for a lot more gamers than it used to be. Now, that's not to say that a lot of Banjo Kazooie diehards aren't Nintendo loyalists too, because they were a Nintendo IP when they were introduced. So,
yeah.
This is really cool to see. This kind of reminds me of, like, going forward. I really hope Banjo Kazooie continues to be available on Nintendo platforms. And yes, I hope Tui comes over as well, because I feel like it should be treated like, yes, Xbox owns Banjo Kazooie, as they should, because hey,
you bought him.
Yeah, Rare gave Nintendo the chance, right, to buy them outright, and Nintendo said no.
Yeah.
And so anytime anybody looks at Microsoft as the villain of this scenario, Nintendo it's not like any dirty dealings happened behind the scenes. Microsoft was the highest bidder. They beat out Activision. Nintendo didn't want to buy Rare. So, Nintendo had their chance. Basically what I'm saying here. But 19 years on, it's good to see that they both studios and the Xbox hierarchy, Phil Spencer on down, all understand and can see that you can't sever this heritage or lineage. Banjo-Kazooie were Nintendo characters, outright Nintendo IPs owned by Nintendo. And so that is the way an entire generation of gamers will always think of them. So
yeah,
you can still promote them as an Xbox brand. You can still do all of that, but you can also throw a bone. It doesn't hurt, especially in terms of brand image. It doesn't hurt to give Nintendo fans a little bit something with Banjo-Kazooie. It's kind of like Spider-Man movie rights, right? Like Sony has Spider-Man's movie rights, but they worked out a deal with Marvel, bring him in the MCU, and there's a lot of, give and take back and forth there. But, or it's like the Muppets, the Muppets are now owned by like 3 different companies, Disney again. And
it's Jim Henson's 85th birthday, by the way. That's crazy.
Happy birthday, Jim. I mean, he's dead. He's been dead for 30 years, but
it's still his 85th date of his birth.
Yes, death doesn't negate the fact that he was born, right? It isn't like a Back to the Future time travel scenario. Kermit looks down and the hand inside of him is disappearing, and he's like,
oh, wait, what's going on here?
But no, it's like Disney, Sesame Workshop, and the
whoever owns the Fraggles.
And I think just the Jim Henson Studio, Jim Henson Workshop, or whatever it's called. The 3 companies own the Muppets, but you will see them broker deals with each other all the time because they're so intertwined. You can't sever Kermit's relationship with Sesame Street. You can't sever all those times the Fraggles crossed over with the core Muppets. So
yeah, it's not like you can just say, like, Disney can't just say, hey, these guys, it's like, these guys look really familiar. Are you sure they're not part of the same universe? Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all. Kermit is like the Banjo to Sesame Street.
By the way,
I always thought.
Yes. I'm surprised that didn't come up on our Banjo character witness episode, Malik.
Well, it didn't have to, because Banjo wasn't on the I mean, yes, he was on the Switch, but I mean, there are so many other characters that are also on Smash Brothers. But now that he is on the Switch and is coming to the Switch, we can make that comparison even more stronger now.
Okay. All right. In the live stream chat, the JT review, which I'm assuming is John Tessier, says that the, well, you'll remember, we have another call, says that, the original N64 version is better, in my opinion, because you still gotta collect all 100 notes in one life. I will agree there. That's the way it should be.
I'm wishy-washy on. I'm 50-50 on that.
You're wishy-washy Banjo on that, you might say.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I agree. I like the brutal challenge of that, and I don't like the XBLA version where the notes disappear, because the notes are a helpful tool too to guide you throughout your way in the world. It's something that's come up before on the podcast, where when you collect the notes and they're gone forever, then you might not have some helpful markers. It would be like bananas disappearing forever in a Donkey Kong Country platformer, right?
I suppose. Well, that always messed with my head even as a kid, when after you beat DKC1 and then you go into the horde and you see the bananas are there. There was always a little bit of a part of me that was like, what are we still doing out here? Why does this even matter? Why does replaying the game even matter? We got everything. What are these bananas doing here for?
Can't we just go to bed now? Yeah.
Yeah, we can just chill forever.
Yeah, Cameron is also in a live stream. Cameron points out that the XBLA versions, as nice as they are, also have a bunch of music and graphical errors from when they were first ported that were never fixed. Most aren't deal-breaking, but I'm glad to see the original version of the first game back in some form as an alternative. I totally agree there.
Which is why I really hope Banjo Tooie gets put on there in a form where at least the first cutscene doesn't just trail off from all the music cues. But yet, I really hope, again, that the frame rate is a little more stable than what it is on the original N64, or maybe they give you like some sort of option, because, again, Tooie on the N64 is like, sometimes it's a little hard to play, because it's like, everything will be nice and smooth, and then all of a sudden you'll be going at like 2 frames a second.
I've brought this up before. I'm one of the weird gamers. I'm one of those weird cats, man, that doesn't really care about frame rate. And maybe it's because I'm old school. Maybe it's because I've been around that block that's called life. But I've played so many games in my youth with poor frame rate that I'm just used to it now, and it's fine. It's just something. Oh, massive slowdown. Okay, cool. We'll get through it. Don't worry.
I've been down that road before too, when I used to think that when frame rates used to got really like slow, I always used to equate it to like an action movie where everything got like slow motion, like explosions everywhere. I always thought it was cool. So like, whoa, look at all the explosions. Everything's slowing down. It's too much, dude. You're kind of losing it, dude. And I'm okay with that. But even in just Tooie, sometimes when you're walking, you'll go like, sometimes.
My go-to example of how I dealt with it, Donkey Kong Country 2, Web Woods. You would get occasionally terrible slowdown playing it on Super Nintendo, right? This isn't a thing, by the way, on the Nintendo Switch Online. Nintendo Online. What's it called again? Nintendo Switch Online.
Switch Online.
It's such a basic title, but I can't remember it because it's just not memorable. I can remember Expansion Pack just fine because you can make dick jokes, but in Nintendo Switch Online, whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's sterile. But you don't have this problem playing it on there or on the Wii U. But playing it on the original Super Nintendo, right, with the cartridge, you would get terrible slowdown when all the zingers would be around you, and you would have the mist, the fog of Web Woods, and you were trying to make webs with Squitter. And I remember saying out loud, it's not the game's fault. The Super Nintendo just can't handle it.
It's just too much awesomeness.
Yeah.
I think it's the same way on the Virtual Console too, because I remember a bit of slowdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just used to it that I don't even notice it anymore. But yeah, I mean that was my philosophy. It's like, it's not Donkey Kong Country 2's fault that it's just so perfect.
It's the console's fault
that our primitive hardware can't process
handle these primates.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I see like complaints there that this is just going to be a basic N64 port or basically a ROM, dropped onto your Switch. I don't care. Like, for one, if there was ever to be a remastered Banjo Kazooie or Banjo Kazooie 2E remaster, whatever, it's going to be for the Xbox.
Of course.
This is as good as it's probably ever going to get for you. if you're looking to play Banjo on the Switch or any Nintendo console, this is what you I think should hope for. Bare minimum is just to always have the N64 version of Banjo Kazooie and hopefully Tooie available. I think that they're more than willing to work with Nintendo, and there's been a lot of back and forth between them, which we're going to get into. But they're not going to sacrifice one of their money makers for Gamer Pass. Buying an Xbox console or playing them on your phone now or whatever. They're not going to sacrifice that completely to Nintendo. So anything new coming down the pipe, we had Banjo 3 mentioned. There's a new Banjo game. It's going to have exclusivity for the Xbox platform. I have no question about that. But yeah, I going forward, I just hope every Nintendo console down the line, I hope, so long as you can play N64 games on them, I hope Banjo Kazooie and Tooie and yes, Diddy Kong Racing, I hope they all keep coming back. We'll get into that, Malik, because here's the thing, right, about this. A lot of our callers were saying this is so great that this opens up a new era of a working relationship between Rare and Nintendo again, and who knows what we're going to see. Well, the thing about the working relationship is it never really ended. There has been back and forth deal making between the two parties since the buyout. It's never stopped. Anytime they want to put Donkey Kong Country on any sort of virtual console, bring it to Nintendo Switch Online, there's stuff they have to clear with Rare. And then when Rare had to bring Rare Replay to the Xbox One, there was stuff they had to clear with Nintendo. Source code.
There was music in Blastcore that had to be taken out.
Yeah, they didn't clear everything, but yeah, there has been constant communication between the two. It's not like they can't talk to each other because they're different companies now. This isn't really as new as it seems. And in fact, remember last year when Nintendo of Japan had that bizarre blip? Yep. That weird moment where they basically announced that Banjo Kazooie was coming for the Wii U.
Also Blastcore.
Also Blastcore. Yes, also Blastcore. Glad you mentioned Blastcore. So at the time, it was like, wait, what's that?
So what's going on here?
Yeah. So my theory, right, was that it was a dummy release date that had been scheduled to Nintendo Japan's site at one point. And they just put a far-off day and year in it, the end of December in the year 2020. That was just a placeholder because they had made a deal with Rare then to put Banjo Kazooie and Blastcore on the Wii U. And then it never happened because the Wii U was essentially moribund. Yeah, it was dead in the water, and they were like, we shouldn't waste any resources on the Wii U. We can put this stuff on the Switch eventually. A deal had been made much earlier than people are realizing. It wasn't just this year. It wasn't even when Banjo and Kazooie were added to Smash, when that deal was inked. This goes all way back to 2015 at least. But that does mean I think we should look for Blastcore too. At the very least, Blastcore might be coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
I can't wait. For all the kids to experience Oyster Harbor. My God.
and so if those are the only two we have to go on, I think that's all we can really hope for at the moment. But sure, that does open up the possibility for Banjo Tooie. And yes, Diddy Kong Racing is a must. I don't know why that deal hasn't been done yet, because it's not like Xbox can profit off of Diddy Kong Racing as is. It's not like Nintendo can do anything with Diddy Kong Racing. It is literally stuck in the middle between the two companies. And the only reason I would think Nintendo would have any aversion to putting Diddy Kong Racing on Nintendo Switch Online is Conker. And if they're still hung up on Conker, then there's no helping us. Like, you would think that after all of this time, the original reason they pulled Diddy Kong Racing from store shelves and Conker's Pocket Tales is they didn't want the kids to be confused and be like, I really like this squirrel character in Diddy Kong Racing. Oh, he has a new game. What?
This is the best game ever.
Their parents walk in and like the room is on fire and they're like doing heroin in the corner and they're like, what happened? And the little kid just like, Conker corrupt me, ma. That's what Nintendo feared back in 2001. They shouldn't still be fearing that, because now if you see Conker on a Nintendo console, you got to buy an Xbox. You've got to buy an Xbox to experience his raunchy later years. So I'm really hopeful Diddy Kong Racing, even more so than Banjo Tooie, I'm really hopeful Diddy Kong Racing comes back. Because Jeff and I did an episode about this called The Forgotten Diddy Kong Racing. We did it last year, and it really just sums up how unfortunate it is that the beating heart of the Donkey Kong universe, the kind of game that spun off in 3+ directions, right? And gave us Banjo Kazooie and Conker as backdoor Donkey Kong spin-offs, and Dinosaur Planet and Star Fox Adventures and that whole weird deal. It's just a shame that it's basically been forgotten about, because it's a game that Rare owns, but it's a title that Nintendo owns, and they also own Diddy and Crunch, and it's just a confusing thing that nobody really wants to untangle.
Like, do you have any idea? I can only imagine, like, how much more popular Diddy Kong Racing would be today if it wasn't in that predicament. Just because it's just so cool. Just for people like me. When I didn't know about Banjo and Conker, and then I found out who they were from Diddy Kong Racing, I was like, the first place I found out about Diddy Kong Racing was from the DS. I saw Diddy Kong Racing DS, the commercial, right? And then after a while, I looked into it a bit more, and I was like, wait, Banjo and Conker first came from this game? So I gotta get the original. And it's like, and not only is that cool, but the game is also one of the best racing games ever. It takes Nintendo like 3 Mario Kart iterations to get what Diddy Kong Racing was doing like 20 years ago. So, yeah.
And again, this is actually something I'm going to be discussing with Josh when he comes on the next episode, but it's something that makes me sad, right? That I feel like such a large part of my identity, or what was my identity as a Nintendo fan, was centered around games like Diddy Kong Racing. And if there's one thing that makes me feel old, is that, the GameCube generation on, they don't have that as a reference point. They might know of Diddy Kong Racing. Some of them have played it, but more and more as the years go by, they haven't. They don't know it. They have vague ideas about it. They've heard about it. Oh yeah, that was a game that Banjo crossed over with, right? He was a guest character. No, it was his debut. It was his debut.
Yes, Banjo debuted in a Donkey Kong game, and don't you forget it.
Yeah, Banjo and Conker were both introduced as friends of Diddy Kong with like this backstory. On Rare's website, Conker's biography led with Diddy's friend, Conker. Like, they were Donkey Kong characters. I know that wasn't the original intention in development, but it happened. And
it's just a happy mistake that the best things happen by accident.
Right. Everybody thinks, like, if you don't have a master plan, then it's somehow invalid, right? That's not the way the creative process works.
No.
Yeah. And it's actually something we were discussing on our Sea of Thieves streams, because, there's a lot of, like, talk, as Jeff and I discussed on our 4-hour Sea of Thieves episode last time, that this deal they made with Disney for the Pirates of the Caribbean crossover basically changed the story they were telling in Sea of Thieves. And no, it didn't. Rare has a loose outline of where they're going, but they don't have everything like set in stone. And so if you can incorporate characters to get those pieces in place, it's not somehow less than if they hadn't done that. You know, that's the way the creative process works. Again. But anyway, Diddy Kong Racing, that is my biggest hope. And, you know, the fact that it was Banjo Kazooie and Blast Corps that leaked, and shows that this deal has a much older origin than most news outlets and fans, I think, realize. I don't know if we're going to get Diddy Kong Racing. I can't honestly say, but I'm hopeful. And I think if we want it bad enough and we're polite enough, when I say when we want it bad enough, I can just foresee the ugliness that ensues there. I want everybody to be kind and respectful, but if we can get out the word that, hey, we would really, really love a deal to be worked out for Diddy Kong Racing. It's been way too long. If we can play Banjo Kazooie on the Switch, what's holding up Diddy Kong Racing? So
yeah.
Anyway, that's my plea. Also, TT and Sea of Thieves.
Oh, just let it go.
No! Would you tell that to the Banjo fans who wanted to play Banjo Kazooie on a Nintendo console for 19 years? They didn't let it go, and look what happened. Look what came true for them on Thursday.
But again, TT is a Diddy Kong Racing character. We're just going back to this whole legal limbo thing. We'll see. We'll see, but I'm not holding my breath.
TT is owned by Rare, Lock Stop, TikTok. He is owned by Rare, 100%. Don't make me break out the charts, Malik, about who owns what, who owns which characters. So yeah, basically, this is cool. We don't have a date for when this is happening. We just know it's happening. And it was cool. You know, Rare tweeted about it. It was really cool to see the Banjo fans jump off their assholes for once. Like you can feel the relief coming from Rare's social media accounts when they can tweet about Banjo and they're not gonna get verbally assaulted. Like, cause at a certain point it's like, you know, people like Lee Loveday, they're like, I don't want to tweet about Banjo. I'm going to tweet about Blast Corps. I'm just going to tweet about Blast Corps because
I like his Blast Corps tweets.
He tweets a lot about Blast Corps, and it's clear like he's avoiding Banjo Kazooie for the most part. But you can tell the relief that when they can tweet about Banjo Kazooie and they know it's something that pleases the fans, they're going to revel in it. And Playtonic had a nice tweet too. Cause, you know, it's kind of awkward for Playtonic because ukulele, one of the big appeals of ukulele is you can play it on the Switch. And I don't think Banjo Kazooie on the Switch takes away from ukulele. Not in the slightest. Ukulele is its own thing, obviously based on Banjo Kazooie, but ukulele plays so much better than Banjo Kazooie. Cause yeah, Banjo Kazooie, I love it. It's a pillar of my childhood, and it's in my top 4 games of all time. But it is also a product of 1998, and you play ukulele, and it just plays like a fucking dream, no pun intended. So, I mean, there's room for both, you know. And really, to go off on the tangent about game preservation that I went on with Gibbon several weeks back, I just want everything to be available. I want it to be available for the most people it can possibly be. So this is great. The N64 controller, I don't even know if I'm going to get that. It's cool, but do you remember the N64 controller? Like, the only reason I could see getting the N64 controller is I think that's the only really acceptable way to play Donkey Kong 64, maybe. I tried to play it with the Wii U controllers, and oof.
Huh.
Ugh.
But like, no, like those things look great, but I really don't need them for the experience. Like, dude, I beat Donkey Kong Country to 102% using a GameCube controller. I'll survive with the Pro controller.
Oh, I used the Wii U gamepad, and that's a clunky experience. Let me tell you.
I say the GameCube is clunkier, but I found a way. When I go back to my Virtual Console games on the Wii, I always go to the GameCube controller because I'm stubborn and I don't have a classic controller.
Yeah, I might buy the N64 controller just for nostalgia, but it's gonna be one of those things where will I even be able to find it? Will it just always be sold out and they just won't make enough? Because that's really the thing with anything cool like this these days. You just can't find it. I mean,
because everyone's like, mine.
I still haven't seen an Xbox Series X in the wild or a PlayStation 5 in the wild. I mean,
I haven't cared to look because there's no games on there for me.
Yeah, our buddy Shane Marchus hooked me up with the Duke chipset in Sea of Thieves, which you can only get if you load up your game in an Xbox Series and Series X or S. And so because of that, I no longer had that like need to get one. This arbitrary cosmetic in Sea of Thieves.
Arbitrary.
You should write for Rare Social Media.
I wish I could. People keep telling me, man, your jokes are so bad.
No, but yeah, once the pressure is off there, like, I don't need one right away. It would be nice to have one, but yeah. No matter what, this is a huge deal. We'll be talking about it more on the conversation, I'm sure. But I don't really have anything else to say about it because all we have to go off of is a blurry game box and a little bit of historical context we provided you tonight. Like as far as like the future, the Game Boy Advance games that came up in the call, that's a really cool thing that I hadn't considered because the Game Boy Advance games and the couple DS games they did, Rare being they, were like the extension of the relationship with Nintendo. Even after the buyout, they still released games on Nintendo systems for like 6 years, right?
Yeah.
5 to 6 years. And they've never been available on the Xbox, so it's a great point. I hadn't even thought about that because I was like, one of the things missing from Rare Replay. I understand they can't put Donkey Kong games in Rare Replay. GoldenEye, forget about it, you're not going to untangle the Bond license. But one of the things that was really missing for me though was things like Grunty's Revenge. And it's Mr. Pants, and Saberwolf, having the modern Saberwolf in there, juxtaposed to the Ultimate Play of the Game Saberwolves, would have been really interesting. So I understand why they didn't put them in there. There was discussion about it, but they ultimately didn't. So put them on the NSO, as the kids call it. Do it. The NSO sounds like some sort of American spying agency that's like wiretapping your phones. Oh no.
Nintendo spies online.
The NSO heard what I said about the N64 controller being clunky. Oh no, they're coming to get me. That would be great. I would be all for Grunty's Revenge, even Banjo Pilot. I would love to have accessible because again,
more children need to play Banjo Pilot and question why planes slow down when they fly over grass.
Hoverboard technology, Malik.
Oh, of course.
It's because the propulsion system doesn't work when you have a lot of elements on the ground, right? It interferes with technical readouts in the plane. It's all very complicated and stupid.
Yeah, it's very stupid.
But it has espresso in it, and I want younger gamers to see, oh my god, that's Donkey Kong's ostrich friend Espresso in Banjo Pilot.
Oh
DK
my God,
Vine
they
was
forgot
right.
to take out this asset. I brought it up the last time.
I know, and
It's just to get under your skin.
I hate you for it. DK Vine was right all along. They are a shared universe.
Even the winning, the results screen, you can clearly hear monkeys in it. And it's like, it's so connected. They must really care.
Diddy's
For
just
this
off
one
screen.
game. I think I saw him in like the hidden files. I hacked the game and I think I saw him in there.
No, man. I saw him hiding behind a bush. If you really squint, you can see his tail sticking out.
You can see it sometimes when you play as Banjo, and sometimes it'll just glitch out and Diddy will show up for a quick second.
Look, Malik. You should know better than anybody. We found Diddy in Mario Kart 64. Give it a few more years. We'll find him in
Yeah.
Banjo Pilot.
That's true. What am I going on about?
So speaking of the Kongs, the other big news coming out of Nintendo Direct. Well, at first, we saw Donkey Kong in Mario Party Superstars. I mean, we knew he was there, but we saw him in a minecart. We saw him in a minecart losing to Birdo and Wario and Yoshi.
Minecart sadness, am I right? I'm terrible. I'm sorry.
No, yes, that was solid. I even tweeted about it, like a little jokey tweet, like this is all we're gonna get. Isn't life terrible? You know, because I'm all about raising spirits. And so we also got an update on Mario Golf Super Rush. We got an update on Mario Golf Super Rush. Couldn't remember the name there, Malik, because I have it's like Mario blank blank blank. What's that one called? Mario Golf Super Rush, though. There was an update that they were adding 2 new characters to the game, and it was Ninja. The ninjas from Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, the little ninja stars, and a Koopa Troopa.
I'm so excited, Hyle. Can't you tell? Ninja's kind of cool, but like, oh wow, Koopa Troopa. That's, man.
Yeah, the character that they removed from Mario Kart 64 because he was so boring. No, I mean,
wow, a turtle.
The discouragement that they still haven't added Diddy. Like, it didn't take this long to get Diddy in Mario Tennis Aces, right? So then the question becomes, is Diddy even going to be in the game? I was very confident back in the spring. I was like, hey, don't worry. Camelot loves Donkey Kong. They're not going to do Diddy dirty. And we're still waiting on Diddy. They're adding these esoteric Mario baddies. Like Charging Chuck was in there in the base game. Now we've got Ninja, and it's just like, oh, okay. Like I guess that's cool if you're a fan of a more obscure Mario baddies. But
yeah.
Where's Diddy? Where's Diddy? So I was feeling a little like, oh God, we really don't have anything to talk about. Like, we don't even have Diddy at the golf game. And then the Banjo Kazooie news happened, and then Miyamoto walked out, and shit's going down when he makes an appearance these days, because it's like one of those things where, you know, he doesn't really present himself as the face of Nintendo anymore. Used to be every E3 when they would have those big stage presentations, he would be there. And now these days, you know, now that they've moved to the all digital directs, he very rarely shows himself, and you know, he's kind of more hands off these days with game development. He's more about being sort of a brand ambassador, making all these deals and ensuring the integrity of them. It seems to be his role these days. He was, you know, very hands on with the Super Nintendo World theme park at Universal Studios around the world, and he's very hands-on with the Illumination deal that they've inked with the animation studio Illumination. And of course, they're doing the Super Mario movie, the as of yet untitled Super Mario movie found out from Miyamoto, because he came out and I thought, we're going to get an update on the theme park. They're going to announce Donkey Kong Country at Universal Studios.
I'm retiring. That's what I thought. For real this time, though.
Like, I thought that he was coming out and this was going to like launch into a preview of Donkey Kong Country at Universal Studios, because it's under construction now. We see it. We see the pictures. It's matching the diorama and all the concept art. Like it is clearly what they're building, but no, it was an update on the Super Mario movie. And then I'm just, damn it. Like that was my one hope, right? When I saw Miyamoto, my spirits raised because it was like, shit's going down and this is going to be good for us. So he announced that the Super Mario movie is going to be released holiday 2022. It's releasing in North America. Was it December 21st? I
think so.
Yeah, December 21st, 2022. And then they went through the cast, right? Because
yeah. Wait, no, I won't start doing that yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have a call to take. Let's take the call and then we'll properly address the voice cast of this movie.
Okay.
And the character roster at that.
Right.
Hey, how's it going? It's John Tessier here, calling back into the Kongversation. Okay, so a couple conversations ago, I called in making a fun little joke that Banjo was the biggest stoner of the DKU. We all had a fun little laugh. Everyone's like, no, it's Funky Kong, you know, and we all had a nice little laugh there. But it turns out, the actual biggest stoner of the DKU, the doobie pothead stoner of the DKU, number one, it has to be our main man Donkey Kong now, because why else would they cast Mr. Seth Rogen, King Pothead himself, in the role of Donkey Kong? The only explanation is that behind our noses the entire time, DK himself has been this gigantic pothead. And I'm sure he was influenced by Funky. That's how he first got it, and then DK took it out of control. We can trace this back, obviously, the original Donkey Kong Country. How was his banana horse stolen? It was obviously he was stoned out of his mind, couldn't wake up anymore. Cable stole his bananas. And Donkey Kong Country 2, he gets himself kidnapped. How did he get himself kidnapped? He was stoned. And then it keeps going all the way into Donkey Kong 64, where he's so stoned all the time, he is literally saying Donkey all confused, and he has some weird rap at the beginning of his game, to the point where Nintendo's like, all right, DK, no, that's enough. You can be in Super Smash Bros. Melee, you can be in Mario Kart Double Dash, but for the next two games, I believe it's Donkey Konga, were the next two games that came after DK64. Like, you're going to get your own musical adventure. You're too stoned. And then eventually, he got off the pot for Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. And that's the DK we have today, who is the biggest stoner of the DKU. Right under our noses the entire time. All right, have a good one.
Malik, I'm sorry this is the reoccurring bit for your episodes of The Kongversation.
That's okay. The last time I was on, I was laughing so much someone thought I was stoned off my butt.
Oh, thanks. That was John Tessier, by the way. Yeah. Okay. So. Was that Bleak the Snowman? Was Bleak the Snowman going to be in this?
That was Seth Rogen.
Okay. So.
Unless he's doing like two roles, it's like he's also Bleak. He shows up, and when you shoot him, he just goes, and then he explodes.
You know, the way these big Hollywood animated movies, CGI movies, the way they work, the way they've worked since, I believe, Shrek, and maybe a little earlier than that, Toy Story, I guess.
Aladdin, maybe? Because that was like the really big one.
Well, I was thinking, like, with the casting, like, they don't just hire voice actors anymore, voice artists. It's not really a huge profession, at least for the big Hollywood tentpoles. They have to hire name actors for them. And I question, like, do these name actors really bring kids, to the movie theaters?
Chris Rock is a zebra. That's what brought me into... No, it didn't, actually. I mean, the Madagascar movies are great, but when I was 10, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, Chris Rock is playing a zebra. Mom, I need to see this movie right now.
Right.
That's not what brought me in.
It's not like, oh, I really want to see the movie with the Minions because Steve Carell is voicing Gru. No child would say that. The thinking maybe is that it will placate the parents and make the parents more agreeable to see it. But, oh yes, I really enjoy Chris Rock's antics in his stand-up comedy. I'm sure he'll deliver a really raunchy set as this zebra.
No. I mean, again, the Madagascar movies I think are pretty good, but that's not why you watch them. Just like, I want to hear Jada Pinkett Smith as a hippo. Oh my goodness. This is what I've always wanted.
So I've never liked this trope. You know, I'm somebody who left Hollywood, just full of disgust and regret and just how insular it is. And it's just like, it's not for me. I don't like the way that voice artists have kind of been squeezed out, right? Squeezed out of their own profession when I feel like they can do a much better job and a lot. Not to say that some of these actors don't bring a lot to these characters. And obviously then the characters, especially in CGI, cartoons, they're modeled after their own performance. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm not disparaging their work. But all the same, you can tell some of these actors are just doing it for a paycheck, and they're just sleepwalking through it, and they don't really bring anything to the role that someone like a Phil Lamar or Billy West would bring to it.
Yeah. We do have Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, though. And one thing I've always noticed in a lot of Hollywood movies is that, like, you'll usually have, like, a all-star-studded Hollywood cast, but then maybe you'll get someone who's like a regular old voice actor as like maybe a side character, but usually you'll only get one or two, and this Kevin Michael Richardson just so happens to be this one. Are you aware of Kevin Michael Richardson?
I'm sure I would be if you read off some of his work, but I don't know anything off the top of my head.
Well, he's been in a lot of stuff like, I don't know if it's anything that you might have particularly watched, but he's in a lot of cartoons, like currently, like in the Ninja Turtles cartoon from 2012, he was the Shredder, and he's done a lot of stuff on like Family Guy and The Simpsons, a lot of current Simpsons stuff, many things, but he's right up there with like the Phil Lamars and the Billy Wests.
Well, that's good
all
to see,
those
at
guys.
Least. That's good to see, at least. Kamek, by the way, replaced Koopa Troopa originally in Mario Kart 64 because Koopa Troopa was so boring that they were like, let's sexy him up and let's put in the wizard Koopa instead. And then they were like, let's put Donkey Kong in it instead. The cast does its job because it's definitely got people talking. It stirred some controversy. So the weird... Chris Pratt is Mario, which out of all of these, I can see most of these, right? Like I could see how that could work. That could be fun. Chris Pratt as Mario, I don't think anybody has any conceivable notion of how that works because we associate Mario so strongly now with Charles Martinet's, yippies and woohoos and what have you. And Chris Pratt is not. So it's like, is Chris Pratt going to do a vaguely offensive Italian accent? Like, how's that going to work? Or is Chris Pratt just going to be Chris Pratt? Because that most of these actors, they're just themselves in these movies because that's what sells them for the people who care about that. So it's if just Chris Pratt going to be Mario, then we're kind of going back to almost like Captain Lou or Bob Hoskins in the Super Mario Brothers movie. He was doing an American accent in that. You're going back to Mario before Super Mario 64 when he became this like hyper exuberant pizza box mascot.
Yeah, sure.
Which it could be interesting, you know. Chris Pratt, ironically, was my choice to voice Donkey Kong in a Donkey Kong movie. In a tweet that I resurfaced from 2018, I retweeted it this morning, and I was like, because I thought like, who would be a good Donkey Kong? And I looked at Chris Pratt's work on Parks and Rec, you know, before he became shredded and became this A-list Hollywood actor. When he was on Parks and Recreation, he was just this lovable doofus, Andy Dwyer, and I was like, you know, I could see that working, and the like. Delving back into that, mixed in with his kind of brasher A-list performances, you could actually find a comfortable middle ground for Donkey Kong. So it's not like I, you know, despite what I've said on this podcast in recent weeks, it's not like I have any great animosity towards Chris Pratt. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, you know, but Mario,
Jurassic
like,
World was okay.
Oh, it was just okay. It was just a solid okay.
I had fun with it. Nowhere near as good as the first movie, but better than 3, I think.
Yeah, so Chris Pratt is Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach.
Not familiar with her.
She was in Queen's Gambit, I think. Is that her?
I have no idea. You're asking the wrong guy.
All right. She was in that X-Men movie that didn't have the X-Men in it that came and went, or it took a long time to come and then it came and went during the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, that one. I thought there's like 3 X-Men movies that came and went, aren't there?
What was it? Little Mutants? What was it called? Baby X-Men? Charlie Day is Luigi. Now, I thought this was going to be the big, like, takeaway from this when they're going through them, right? Charlie Day as Luigi. That's so fucking bizarre. Charlie Day, I religiously watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And in fact, I've kept up with it. It's been a while since the most recent season, but, you know, it's still a solid show. And Charlie Day, you know, he's most associated with that character, Charlie. And even if you're not familiar with It's Always Sunny, you've still seen the meme, of Pepe Sylvia. So you know who he is. But, you know, he's gotten a lot of movie work outside of the show, and Luigi it's a choice. I think like that I'm more interested to see how that works than Chris Pratt as Mario, but okay. Jack Black as Bowser, which, okay.
Interesting choice. Yeah. I imagine Bowser like a teenager or a drummer.
Yeah, like Bowser, I don't associate with the kind of exuberance Jack Black brings to his performances. But again, you know, I don't know how canon this movie is going to be, right? Like everybody's like treating it like this is going to be gospel. The casting choices alone make me question just how much this is going to influence the games, but okay. Keegan-Michael Key is Toad, which it's an interesting choice.
Yeah. Again, if you don't know who Keegan-Michael Key is, you've probably seen that sketch where he's like doing attendance and goes, "Hey, Ron," and all that stuff. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, because I associate Toad as this annoying twerp, and I like Keegan-Michael Key. So if Toad could have some personality, I think why I'm kind of excited about some of these choices, even though I'm not somebody who traditionally cares or associates with the Mario franchise is once upon a time, before Donkey Kong Country, in the early 90s, because yes, I'm old enough to have lived in the early 90s, Malik. I watched the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, and the portrayals of the characters in that show so differ from how they eventually shook out in the games that just like if you were of a certain age and you saw the Donkey Kong Country cartoon first, and then you associate those portrayals as the Kongs, that's sacrilegious to me. But hey, I'm in that boat with the Super Mario mythos, and that cartoon really skewed the way I perceive everything. So this almost seems like it could be a return to getting a different portrayal than everything we've seen since 1996 or so. And that's kind of exciting to me as somebody who used to love these characters and has just gradually kind of been turned off as they become, in my opinion, soulless corporate mascots. But that's my opinion.
No, you're right there. Like, there was a thing where, like, Daisy in Mario Golf Super Rush, she had one of her animations changed to be less sassy. And it's just like, are you serious? Really? You're going to take away Daisy's personality? Like, she's already like almost a palette swap of Peach, but you're going to take away the thing that's unique to her just so she's like, you know, on brand and nice and sweet. That's crap.
I play Mario Kart Tour every day, just a little bit here or there. Nice time waster. But one of the things that just is so striking to me about the Mario cast, especially the humans in the Mario cast, or the humanoids, when you factor in the people who are like mushroom folk, is just how homogenous they all are. They're all a bunch of white people, more or less, and they're just plumbers and princesses and mushroom people, and and then you've got all these variants of them, but they're all just a bunch of white plumbers. and it just becomes like static after a certain point. You're just like, okay, yeah, Wario is a few degrees different from Mario. I like Wario as a character. I'm not attacking Wario, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just, it's a lot. And it's just a lot of the sameness. And so when they dial back their individual personalities like that, I'm like, why? Why are you doing that?
Why are you taking this away from us? What did we do?
There's already very little difference between Daisy and Peach and Rosalina.
The girls.
They're girls. They're princesses.
They're pretty. They're princesses, but they know how to square up with the boys.
So, having some life injected into the Mario cast, that excites me. Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. I'm on board with that. And then Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong is the other big announcement.
So, I'll tell you, when I wanted to do a reaction to this so badly, but I think I forgot to hit record or something stopped, and I was so upset after that. Because when me and my brother were watching the direct, we were just looking at the cast, and then when Seth Rogen came up as Donkey Kong, I feel my brain just like split in two, like a coconut, if you will. And me and my brother were just howling like howler monkeys or chimpanzees, because we were just losing our mind. Like, oh my goodness. Not only is Donkey Kong in the movie, not only is Donkey Kong a part of this big Super Mario Brothers movie, but he's being played by Seth Rogen. And the next 5 minutes of us were just us doing like, hey, what's going on here? Banana Slam.
God.
I know you hate it.
No, I don't hate this, all right? Like, despite, I think a lot of people were thinking, you know who's gonna hate this? You know who's absolutely miserable right now? Hyle from off of DK Vine. Cause, you know, I have made my opinions about the cartoon well known throughout the years, and
yes.
How was this not that, just magnified by 1,000? Couple that with, I've never really liked a Seth Rogen movie. I don't like Judd Apatow comedies. That whole era of comedy in Hollywood, I think ultimately just killed comedies as like big budget Hollywood. Like I have no problem with Seth Rogen, especially as he's aged and matured. I actually like Seth Rogen. He hosted the Emmys the other day.
Really?
Yeah, and I have an Emmy. So in some ways, it's like Donkey Kong gave me my Emmy. I'm going to look for connections wherever I can.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I haven't seen his performance, but I'm eager to see what he does with it. I can see it. I can kind of visualize it, and I kind of can see where they're going with Donkey Kong if they're going to get Seth Rogen to voice him. And look, I would absolutely love to have Seth Rogen on the conversation. I made a tweet about it, and I'm putting this out here now into the universe. If you, the faithful Kongversation listener, would like to, I don't know, at Seth Rogen on Twitter and just put the idea out there that, hey, we, the Donkey Kong fans out there, that you now have to contend with, Mr. Rogen, if you're choosing to voice this iconic character. So, Seth Rogen, the best way to do this is to appear on the Kongversation. I'll treat you right, don't worry. You'll come over to the studio, right? We'll kick back. We'll have some laughs. We'll head over to Dr. Danks across the street.
I knew you were going to do that. We'll rename it Dr. Donk just for the release of the movie.
We'll get you some edibles. We'll do the podcast. You'll see the Donkey Kong fans are some of the greatest fans on the planet. And we'll give you some pointers on how to best portray the character so you don't have a cinematic disaster on your hands, Mr. Rogen. Let's do this. So make sure you at Seth Rogen and ask him nicely that you want to see him on the Kongversation. Let's not make this like, when we couldn't get the Nintendo president on the Kongversation for the Mario Golf Game Boy Color episode. Let's actually make this happen this time, people.
Yeah. I could actually see him doing this, especially if he's stoned, like, out of his mind. I'm sure he'll see, like, the tweet amidst, like, all the smoke and just, like, you know what? This sounds like a pretty good idea. Why not? Am I right?
Calm down, because
okay,
I want to address the way Miyamoto introduced this. And I'm going to quote him verbatim, because I feel like this is so important, the way he introduced this. When the cast card flipped the Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, and I remember thinking, well, here we go. That was my reaction. It was just like, buckle up, everyone. This is going to be our next year plus. Miyamoto said, even though this is a Mario movie, Donkey Kong will also be making an appearance. That is a very loaded sentence, and there's so much I can unpack from that, and I'm going to do that right now. Let me get the box cutter. So, even though this is a Mario movie, Donkey Kong will also be making an appearance. So right out of the gate, he distinguishes that, yes, this is a Mario movie. When you think about it, Donkey Kong shouldn't be in this because he should be in a Donkey Kong movie. They are two separate franchises, but he's going to be making an appearance. We're making an exception here, people. And that did so much, Malik, to calm my jingly jangly nerves, because I'm always afraid that Mario is going to gobble up Donkey Kong's identity. That because Mario is such a bigger brand right now than Donkey Kong, that any association Donkey Kong has with Mario chips away at Donkey Kong's own integrity as a standalone franchise. And Miyamoto clearly understands that, and he's clearly making the case that, hey, we know, but Donkey Kong's going to be in it. We're going to allow this. And I think the reason he's in it, well, there's a couple reasons he's in it, and we're going to get into that, but the real reason he's in this movie, as far as in service to a Super Mario plot, was revealed with the final cast card. And this one, I think a lot of people are kind of missing the forest for the trees for these three, and why these three were grouped together. Because I'm not seeing a lot of discussion about it, and it's plainly obvious why they're grouped together. So Kevin Michael Richardson is playing Kamek. Kamek the Koopa Wizard, who is marginally more exciting than Koopa Troopa. Not more exciting than Donkey Kong, but more exciting than Koopa Troopa. Fred Armisen, Saturday Night Live veteran, Portlandia.
I know him as Speedy Gonzales from the Looney Tunes show, which came out in 2011. That's all I know him from.
He's been in a lot of things, Malik.
I haven't seen any of them.
Okay. Saturday Night Live.
No.
That Parks and Recreation episode where he played the Venezuelan, diplomat.
No.
Okay. Fred Armisen is playing Cranky Kong. Cranky Kong.
Cranky Kong. This is like some crazy validation, and like, again, when I talk about crazy validation, we all know that Cranky is the original Donkey Kong, but now that this is an origin story of some sorts, and Cranky is tied to Mario, and now that it has been said in a big budget movie like this, I don't think anybody can argue that Cranky is not the original Donkey Kong. What do you think?
Well, what really pushes this over the edge is that the third actor in this trio, Sebastian Maniscalco, how do you pronounce it?
I have no idea.
Oh, thanks, Malik. Thanks.
Oh, no problem, Hyle. I wouldn't steer you wrong.
As Spike, Foreman Spike from off of Wrecking Crew.
So
and
weird.
So you got these three very different characters. You're like, that's weird. Kamek's gonna be in it. That's weird. It's really weird that Cranky Kong's gonna be in it. Who's Spike? You say this is gonna be an origin movie, and I don't disagree. I don't know if it's gonna be a one-to-one, and then Mario goes through this journey. Like, I don't know if it's going to be a complete origin story where, it ends with him becoming Super Mario of the Mushroom Kingdom. I think we can infer a few things from the cast. Notice who isn't here. Yoshi isn't here. Wario isn't here.
Yeah.
Waluigi obviously isn't here. He wouldn't be there if Wario wasn't. Diddy. They didn't announce anything about Diddy or any other Donkey Kong characters. It's Donkey Kong and it's Cranky Kong. So we are clearly getting some sort of greatest hits or montage or a full-blown origin story of Mario's life. And the way they list these characters in this card, it's in chronological order. It's Mario from Yoshi's Island got attacked by Kamek. Baby Luigi was abducted. The events of Yoshi's Island.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong fighting Mario on the construction site in the arcade Donkey Kong. And then Mario working for Spike in Wrecking Crew.
You said chronological, not alphabetical, right?
Chronological, yes.
Okay, I was about to say, Kamek starts with a K, Hyle.
Yeah, this is all of his pre-Mario Brothers history, and then the Super Mario Brothers trilogy, and going forward from there. This is like Mario's backstory, the glimpses of it that we've gotten in the games. And so I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of scene where Cranky, Kamek, and Spike are comparing notes about Mario and well, when I encountered him, it was like this, and maybe they're gonna even play with the contradictory origins and things that don't really line up together. I don't know, but they're definitely doing it. And the fact that Fred Armisen is Cranky Kong is such a big validating moment for the Rare fans out there. I saw people talking on the DK Vine forum how this movie might finally be the straw that breaks the back for DKU lore, right? Like, this is going to steamroll it completely. And so far, I'm not seeing anything that suggests that. I'm seeing nothing but good things in this. They are acknowledging that Cranky is the original Donkey Kong. That is going to be in a big budget holiday release. That is going to be, like, held as verbatim canon by all of these people who've tried to dismiss it for all of these years since Rare was bought by Microsoft, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, well, that was what Rare thought, but Nintendo doesn't believe that. No. Look at this cast list. Look who is in this. Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong are the only two Donkey Kong characters announced for this. Now, what's Donkey Kong's role in this? I'm not sure. Miyamoto suggests that he says an appearance. And now, granted, Seth Rogen was listed with all of the other, like, big cast members, but when you look at, like, the characters, how big of a role are some of these characters going to have? Mario and Peach and Luigi, probably big roles, right?
Yeah.
Donkey Kong might essentially be the equivalent of a cameo. He might be like the big end credits, mid credits scene where we're setting up. Drum roll, please. You have your DK bongos, Malik?
Actually, I do, but they're, my N64 is, currently on them, and you know what? No, I'm gonna get them. Just give me 1 second.
Get them. We need a drum roll. We need a drum roll, Malik.
1 sec.
All right.
1 sec.
All right.
Okay. Should I do the drum roll now then?
Do the drum roll with the DK bongos, please.
Okay.
That's the sound. Oh yeah.
That's it.
Hey now, you're an all-star. So, you okay? You kind of ruined the drum roll there with your laughter. Did Dr. Dags open up there too?
I have one more Seth Rogen thing, but I'll do it after the drum roll, after you announce what you say.
Okay. All right. Are you done with the drum roll?
Okay. Should I keep going?
Just give me a little bit more. I feel like the flow has been interrupted here.
Okay. I'm doing it again.
Okay. All right. This is setting up the Donkey Kong movie.
What?
So this has been rumored, right? And I didn't report on this because I couldn't verify it at the time. Since that time, though, I have sort of gotten it verified that, yes, the plan is for this movie to lay the groundwork for a Donkey Kong standalone movie. And that's the plan. Seth Rogen, Fred Armisen will be in that as well. Now, granted, this is all, ambitious Hollywood plans. We remember when Universal Studios tried to set up their dark universe for all the monsters, and they had one movie. They had one movie, and then it was abandoned. So any talk, right, about them wanting to use this as a springboard for a Donkey Kong franchise as well, that might not happen if this movie doesn't perform financially well or doesn't meet expectations or things change behind the scenes. But the plan right now is indeed for that to happen. And it's all part of Miyamoto's push and Nintendo's push to make Donkey Kong that top tier brand again, which includes the theme park and the new video game developed by Nintendo EPD. So This is a huge deal, and it's less a big deal for Donkey Kong fans because they appear in this movie, and it's more about what is being laid groundwork-wise. Just make sure you don't fly your plane over that groundwork. Groundwork-wise for the future. And how do I feel about a Donkey Kong movie? I'm terrified, man.
Yeah, me too.
We just chatted with DM Cumbo, the artist, author of Ukulele and the Cracklestone, about like how, a Donkey Kong movie, the notion of it terrifies me because I am so protective of Donkey Kong and getting the characters right and the lore. And that's why, things like Ukulele and the Cracklestone or Sea of Thieves, Athena's Fortune work so well because they are so clearly crafted by loving hands who understand those properties, understand what the fans want in those properties. And, they work so well because of that as canon expanded universe pieces. And again, I don't know if Nintendo's going to treat these movies as canon, but they are going to inform people's impressions of canon, right? This will be the defining portrayal of Mario. It won't be Charles Martinet, who, by the way, Charles Martinet is also doing cameo voices.
Yeah, throw him the table scraps. Ugh.
I think it's nice. They're acknowledging that to a lot of people, Mario is only Charles Martinet. You can't have Charles Martinet as Mario in the Mario movie. That's just not the way Hollywood works. Hollywood can be ugly and it can suck, but that's just the nature of the beast. It's why I decided I wanted to just work for myself rather than try to kiss the rings and writing room staff and, contribute a couple lines to a sitcom that I hate. And, it's just what am I doing with my life? This isn't what I want out of my life. There could be other ways I can fill myself creatively and maybe eke out a living. Ekum bokum out of living. Right. Oh, I must have the Seth Rogen laugh. Oh no, is it contagious? No, I have to get more grovelly, but I'll get there. A few more trips to Dr. Danks and I'll hit that mark.
I will say real quick that we were going on about Seth Rogen and Muppets. He did guest star on Sesame Street, and on Saturday Night Live, he impersonated Ralph the dog.
Okay. All right.
So yeah.
There you go.
And he was in Muppets Now on Disney Plus.
Thank you for the Muppets info dump.
Yes. No problem.
That is why you're here. It's for invaluable reasons like that.
Yes.
So I'm terrified, but ultimately, this is nothing but good things for Donkey Kong and the Donkey Kong brand. And that they're using a Super Mario movie to springboard this. I think that's pretty cool. If this is canon, would this be the first cameo movie, in DK Vine's increasingly convoluted classifying systems? Cause we have the cameo games. Would this be a cameo movie? Well, yes, I guess technically it would. But
does Legend of the Crystal Coconut on VHS not count?
It's not canon, Blake. I'm sorry. No, it's canon. It's fanon at the very least, if you want it to be. If you say, hey, I want to believe this is part of the Donkey Kong universe, I'm not stopping you. Please find a way for that to work for you. But no, it does. As far as DK Vine's concerned, it's not canon.
Okay.
What are your thoughts? I'm weirdly positive. I'm kind of zen about this, and I think I'm really excited about Fred Armisen as Cranky. That just means so much. That is such a big deal. And you notice when they have the characters, they have their little icons. You've got this unified branding for the characters now, and Cranky has his CK from Tropical Freeze.
Yeah. I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. So if Diddy shows up, he'll have his DD, Dixie will have her DX, and that's just really cool that
Funky
stuff is...
will have his fuck.
Wait,
fuck barrels.
Is that what it says?
It says FK.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But this is my general thoughts on all of this. I am excited and, like you said, terrified at the same time. Mario movie, I'm fine. But when they jump off to a Donkey Kong movie, I am just absolutely terrified at what the cast of that might look like. Cause I always say I'm sure Peter Dinklage will be King K. Rool or something quirky like that. Or Andy Serkis will be Rattly the Rattlesnake.
No, so in my fan and casting, right, I had Andy Serkis as K. Rool.
Really?
Yeah. He would be brilliant as K. Rool. You can't see it?
I think he would be. Yeah. I think I can, yeah. I mean, he's
Yeah.
already had quite a bit of a history playing apes, so I think this is just the next logical step for him. Reptiles.
If Will Arnett isn't Swanky Kong, I think we need to pick at the movie though. Like Will Arnett as Swanky Kong is the only acceptable choice there.
Oh, of course. Like, what even is this, man?
What are you even talking about? And you're like, well, Swanky Kong wouldn't be in. Well, really, would Cranky Kong be in the Mario movie? Would you have guessed that?
No, I wouldn't have.
You look at things like, you know, they're name dropping Radley in New Donk City and all of this stuff that's happening. They're spelling it wrong, but you know, the thought that counts. You're looking at all of this that's happening and I see still negativity and pessimism out there. But if you can't like put all the pieces together yourself and see what's coming, we might not hear it coming yet, but you can definitely kind of see it if you squint.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong as a big brand, they have to do a lot of rebuilding because after Rare left, Nintendo sort of drove the series into a ditch. A lot of quality games, but
not on an animal, mind you. They didn't drive an animal into a ditch. They killed those animals and put them in the ditch too, because they were like, we're not making a racing game with these guys.
They flew that rocket barrel into a ditch. It's very hard to control sometimes. No, I mean, a lot of quality games from Payon to Nintendo, EAD at the time to Retro, you know, quality Donkey Kong games, but there's no brand consistency. There wasn't a lot of marketing. And they didn't do a good job of getting behind Donkey Kong to the point where they maintained that inertia from the Rare years. And that's what they want to do now. That's what all of this is about, up to and including having Donkey Kong and Cranky Kong in the Mario movie to kind of reintroduce them to a broader audience, or introduce them to the first time, not even reintroducing them, because how many people know who fucking Cranky Kong is? They're doing
technically
this.
They all know who it is, but if you know Donkey Kong, you technically know Cranky Kong, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. So they're doing this, and then it's basically the MCU formula, right? We're gonna introduce this character in this. We're going to spin him off in this. We're going to go see Civil War. Well, who's this Black Panther? I like him. Well, there's a Black Panther movie coming out, you say. Well, I have to go see that. I might find that quite enjoyable. And guess what? That is the exact same formula Rare used in 1997 when they introduced Banjo and Conker. That's what all of this is. That's what this is in service to for that potential Donkey Kong movie that they want to make. And I'm sure we can discuss this with Seth Rogen when he's on the show.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Look how optimistic I am. But we like, you know, these Marvel actors, they sign like 10 film contracts, something ridiculous. And, you know, they're not like 10 full movies like that. That might be like you make a cameo appearance in an Ant-Man movie, but that will be part of your contract. I'm sure Rogen and Armisen are signed for a multi-picture deal.
I think so too. That wouldn't surprise me.
So exciting. I mean, this is a lot of huge news for the Donkey Kong brand and if you're just interested in the video games, if you find the Mario movie distasteful in some weird way, if you find it repulsive because Chris Pratt is playing Mario, think about what this will mean for the games. Because a healthy Donkey Kong in the public's eye will mean more Donkey Kong games. And having Nintendo EPD as the backbone of that, it means we will never get driven into that ditch again. Right? Because if Miyamoto, if Miyamoto and the core team in Nintendo's heartland is behind Donkey Kong, I've said it. I see other people saying it. Donkey Kong has been a couch surfing bum for 2 decades now. He hasn't really had a home to call himself. He has a home now. And now it's in the process of he's applying for jobs. He's going to get work. A lot of good things. Donkey Kong is basically getting his life back on track. Oh, we've got some fan casting, excuse me, in the live Twitch stream right now. Danny McBride is K. Rool, says John Tessier. John Tessier also says Jack Black would have been better as Wario. I mean, would have been better than Elon Musk as Wario, but that's a pretty low bar to clear.
I'm not evil, I'm just a misunderstood.
Why do they all have Italian accents in that?
I don't know.
Like, that's why I'm comforted by Miyamoto's involvement with this. And I see some cynics saying, like, they're just trotting out Miyamoto. He doesn't really have that much involvement. They're just going to overrule him. I feel like the fact that we're getting the lore so airtight that Kamek, Cranky Kong, and Foreman Spike are all going to be in this means that Miyamoto cares about that too. Miyamoto's always been a Cranky Kong fan. When Retro Studios asked Miyamoto, who should we bring back? He said Cranky Kong, and they might have misunderstood that to mean only Cranky Kong. But
or maybe he just said only Cranky, but nobody else.
Miyamoto
also
loves
make
Cranky.
People blow on things.
Oh man, I hope there's lots of blowing in this movie.
The movie will blow itself, I'm sure.
I love this notion that Miyamoto loves Cranky Kong. Like, Rare took his original video game character, the thing he made his name on, and it's like, what if we made him a dick?
And what if we made him old and decrepit? Let's
dick.
take your baby and just put him in his golden years.
And
he was
Miyamoto was
that's
like,
really cool.
That's awesome. I love that. And he stood by it, and he's standing by it, and he's brought it to Illumination and says, this is the original Donkey Kong. I want him in the movie. So that's why I feel okay about this, because is Shigeru Miyamoto my DM combo here? Is he my Chris Alcock? Is he my thing standing between Illumination ruining the Kong lore and like, is he there to ensure it gets done right? I think so. I think so. This is Miyamoto's job now, is to make sure that things like the original Super Mario Brothers movie never happen. To make sure that Universal Studios provides a faithful experience to what Nintendo wants the games to be represented as. And that's what he's doing with Illumination. And Illumination and Nintendo, this isn't just like a passing flight of fancy. Like, it isn't like the head of Illumination on Nintendo's board now. Like, this is a partnership that in a lot of ways is like the Rare Nintendo partnership in the 90s. Like, it is designed to bear lucrative fruit down the line. This isn't just like a one and done thing, hence the Donkey Kong movie, which, yes, I'm basically confirming here that now I've had it from my sources too. It's happening, or it's planned to be happening. So,
yeah.
So, a lot of good things down the pike, and on the next episode of The Kongversation, I will be joined by Josh, the Geek Critique Wallen, and we'll be getting into all the reasons why DKU fans have a lot to look forward to. That is, unless Seth Rogen agrees to be on the episode, and then, sorry Josh, I have to bump you for a second time.
So you thought you were getting TCG, no, you're getting S... I'm not sure.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.